Hey, it's MK, and I am here with a Par Your Way into Our Hearts layout for you guys today. I am also playing along with Scraptember's prompt, which is circles, and I pulled out several of my circles. So the first thing I did was pull out this Creative Memories cutting system in the circle template. I only have the circles, you guys. I never bought any of the other shapes. I also have all three blades, but I think my favorite blade is the red one. I also pulled out this really cool circular stencil, but for the life of me, I cannot remember where or who made it. I apologize. I'm going to use Distress Oxide in Black Soot. I also brought out a Stampin' Up! Punch in 1/2-inch circle as I toss it across my desk. Another circular form that I had that I struggle using are doilies, so I pulled one of those out. Not that it's going to make a dent, but we'll see. I have this really old family foam sticker, and then these chipboard pieces from Indigo Blue from Simple Stories. And then sad to say, a collection that has been lost to me for quite a while. It is Cocoa Vanilla Midnight. I have never actually used this collection because it's been stuck in a box for a very long time. I don't even know the year on this one, but I do know it has been a hot minute. So I recently found the box, and apparently I was doing a class with it that I never finished either. And so I pulled out all the scraps that I had left over from the class, and I never even I just cut the papers up. I never put the layouts together. I never put the embellishments on the layouts. I didn't do anything. So I might bring those layouts back in, unfinished but already pre-cut, and make them for you guys, because honestly, I couldn't even tell you what I was thinking when I was making those layouts. So we will see. So these are all just a bunch of random scraps, like I said, left over from me already cutting it out. And then this is that branding strip that I used a couple days ago from the mix-in paper from 2021. It was the blue star paper. For some reason, it had this bright pink, peachy, but matched the midnight color beautifully. I've got a photo of my puppies being uber super cute, and then of course more scraps from the Midnight collection. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started by doing all of my stenciling that I had in my brain. Now, honestly, I had something in my mind of what I was going to do, but then it briefly changed based off of the papers that I got to work with, is how it ends up working. So the first thing I'm doing is just figuring out where I want all of my stenciling to go. I should have used some masking tape, but in the end, you're not even going to see that I rubbed in a couple of the areas I didn't really want to. I'm bringing in the Phantom Mist mica mist, keeping in mind that the powder will still smudge even after it is long dried. But as you can see, I tried to create a vertical alignment, and I was thinking of, my design is going to be vertical, and so that is how I made my background. And then I'm going to bring in this gorgeous paper with all of these circles. And I'm not trying to preserve the paper. I am just trying to figure out how to get some decent sized circles without wasting a bunch of paper, if that makes sense. I'm going to take my Distress ink in Black Soot again, or actually it's a Distress Oxide, and go ahead and give my circles some shadow just by inking up the edges. I did have one of the circles cut off the edge. I wasn't sure if I was going to have it go off the edge of my layout or if I was going to have it tucked under something to where you won't see the fact that it's not a full circle. I'm going to go ahead and bring in 3 of my little 1/2-inch circles and ink those edges too. I just like the little shadow effect that it gives these circles, and it gives it more of a spherical image rather than I'm just a circle. So and then I'm going to use my distress tool to distress this gorgeous whitewashed wood grain. And my first initial thought was I was going to have this peachy pink pattern span all the way across and create some sort of T effect. And then I was going to have the circles that I stenciled up at the top and down at the bottom in the intersecting corners. And then I realized that that was too much paper and it was going to take away too much. And then I realized that I wasn't, based off of my wood grain that I wanted to use, I wasn't going to get the design that I had in my mind at first. So I had to flip my stencil work on the side, and then I'm going to go vertical with my pattern paper. So it still works in the end, I believe. Yes, it does. I'm going to go ahead and distress some more edges. I just really, you guys, I say this in almost every video, but I do like the dimension that just ruffling up a little bit of paper adds to a layout. It already gives you that lift that you're looking for without adding any foam, without adding anything except for a distressed edge. And it also softens the paper. In my brain, it softens that paper, and it's not just a "I end here" statement. I'm going to take some of these strips and just go ahead and tuck them along the side. Trying my hardest not to touch the mica spray. I did touch it a little bit, but it will be covered up. I'm not too worried. So I'm going to start off with just trying to figure out where I want my circles. I decided I'm going to pop this circle up, even though, like I said, the distressed already pops it up. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little bit more of dimension with my foam, and then I'll bring that in a little bit later because my photo will end up being popped up as well. I'm going to bring in that doily because that is also a circle. So far I've got 3 different circles on my layout. I've got my stencil, my doily, and then my cut paper circles. So I'm really using up those circles. I'm also ignoring the fact that there's a bright green ball on my dog's bed. Actually, I didn't even take it into consideration. What made me think of bringing in these colors was that leftover branding strip from Close to My Heart. It really was that strip that made me think of that. And then I remembered finding this collection probably about a month ago. Still sitting in the box, by the way. But I did want to bring this collection in, knowing that it would have matched that branding strip beautifully. And then also too, having all of this light background and my puppies being so dark, I thought that they would definitely be the star of the show by shining off. I'm bringing the word family in because it matches my shadow and his orangey brown tones in his legs. So he's actually, when he stands up, he's actually a lot more brown than he is black. To be honest, he's got the markings of a shepherd, but he is not. He's a shepherd border collie mix, so he's quite small for a shepherd, but definitely has all of the looks and the markings. And he scared everybody that came into contact with him for the very first time, until you actually got to see what a sweetheart he really was. Oh my gosh, he wouldn't hurt a fly. So another thing that I'm bringing in that is a circle are these flare. I decided to bring in 2 of them, but I'm going to test one of them because I've never actually seen if I can flatten plastic backed flares. And these ones are, they have a plastic back almost like they were supposed to be for a pin that you would pin on your clothing or a bag or something. But the pin is not there. It's just the backing for the pin. So I was going to see if I can flatten it or not, and test it on one that I know I'll probably never use, in all honesty. So I decided to go ahead and put all of my elements down. I took my doily and put it flat down on the page. I went ahead and popped up my photo as well as the large circle. Now I'm just making a little bit of banner strips just to bring that color that's on the left a little bit over to the right. I felt like it was, in all honesty, the photo brings all that color over, but I wanted to bring it in almost like 3 different spots. So here's the flare that I'm going to be practicing on. And I figured, if I smush it or crush it and concave the inside of it, then I'm not going to be hurtful because I don't do cartoony faces on my layouts, you guys. So my original sandwich is what they're called, did not work. So now I've pulled out all my plates that I have available for this adorable little Stampin' Up! Machine. And I'm trying to figure out which one works very well. And both base plates worked out really well, the gray and the white, which are used for the embossing folders, by the way. So they worked out really, really well and smushed the flare flat enough to where it didn't crack the plastic, it didn't concave the metal on top, it just flattened them beautifully. I really liked how that worked. I'm also going to add a little bit more dimension to my 3 little 1/2-inch circles just to bring a little bit more attention to them. I didn't want them to get lost on the page, but I'm going to set them off to the side and they're going to work a little bit more like enamel dots. I'm not going to go ahead and put them down and then regret where I put them without having everything else on my page. I picked out a few chipboard pieces from the indigo and indigo blue, I think is what it was called. I know it's indigo something for those chipboard pieces from Simple Stories. And I said what it was at the beginning and now I can't remember what it was, you guys. The pink matched perfectly with the little floral pattern that I picked out. I didn't want a whole lot of floral pattern because both my puppies are boys, but I did like the softness that that this pattern was for such a dark photo. I absolutely loved how the combination was, and then of course bringing in a little bit of this navy-ish in order to have a dark color, but I didn't want black type of thing. So just adding everything in. The memories word is going to go ahead and get popped up on the S and the E, and then everything else is going to get glued down. So I'm not sure. Oh, there it goes. And then I'm using foam underneath my flare because inside is deep enough to where it needs something underneath it. And these foam dimensionals from Stampin' Up! Are the perfect height to get from the back of the flare to the bottom of your paper, right? Or to the front of your paper. So these chipboard pieces aren't exactly the let's just say the stickiest. So I do have to add extra adhesive, but I don't do that when it came to these hearts. The sticker sheet for this midnight collection was cut all the way through. So I had quite a time to get the backing off of the sticker, which I could have definitely ignored and just probably popped it on with a little bit of glue. But you know, if it's going to be sticky backed, I want to use the sticker. Last thing I'm going to add to this layout are these 3 little dots and figure out where I'm going to put them. I knew I wanted them close to my circles, but other than that, I really didn't know exactly where they were going to go. All right, you guys, that is my layout for today using loads and loads of circular elements, the stencils, the flare, the cutting system, and then, of course, a doily. And if you count it as well, I've got a bunch of little dots that can be represented as circles from my splattering. If you want to go there, I don't know. But it is super fun. I love adding circles. I don't like cutting my photos into circles, but I do love playing and having a circular layout in the background. It is one of my favorite elements to bring into a layout. Anyways, again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Don't forget to check out the playlist that I have down below for Scraptember. And then also too, I've got links down below for everyone that is joining Miranda and Rebecca on their Paw Your Way Into Our Hearts YouTube hop, a hop all about our furry friends that touch our lives and our hearts. All right, you guys, again, thank you so much, and I will check y'all later. Bye.